Hi. Today we're going to talk about integers. What is an integer? An integer is any number that falls on a number line. So I made a small number line here. You have your positive integers and you have your negative integers. So any number that falls on a number line is an integer. Generally speaking, you'll hear integer when you talk about negative numbers. So we're going to talk about how do you do negative integers when you're adding or subtracting. If you only have a single symbol, you have a place that you're starting and you have a direction that you're going. You can think of this several ways. So I'll show you this several ways and you can choose the one you like best. You can draw a number line and you can say, I start at -5. I'll use green. I start down here at -5 and I'm going in the positive direction. That's the positive direction, 2. So I go 1, 2, and I get -3. You can say I start at -3, he's here, and I go up, I go down 2, which means I'm going in the negative direction. So if I start in the negative, and I go further in the negative, I'm back down here to -5. Or you can start at +5, and I'm going to go in the negative direction, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you get -3. That's number lines. Number lines sometimes can be hard because the numbers are really big and you don't want to make a number line that's 100 things long. So something else you can think about. You can use little discs that are yellow and red, and for our purposes we're going to use orange and red. Red is always negative. That's your negative. So we're going to have 5 negatives. And this is just an exercise to get you to see it in your head. And 2 positives. If you stack them like that and you think about that, a plus and a minus, those cancel each other out. They're gone. What you have left are 3 reds, which means you're in the whole 3. Just to show you again. Here we have 3 negatives. 1, 2, 3. And we have 2 negatives. 1, 2. I have nothing to cancel, so I have 5 negatives. Then we can start with 5 positives. And you can go to 8 negatives. All of these cancel out. Those are gone, and you end up with 3 negatives. That's doing it pictorially. Some people, it really helps their brain to think I have 3 reds and 2 reds, and I have 5 reds. You can also do it with plus and minus signs. So if you're doing this on your own on paper, it works exactly the same way. I have 5 minus signs. I have 2 plus signs. A plus and a minus cancel out. I have 3 minus signs. So maybe that method works better. The 4th method that you might like is thinking money. Tell the story. I debited my card for $5. I deposited $2. I now have I still owe $3. Or you might say, I owe a friend $3 and I borrowed $2 more, so I now owe $5. Or you might say, I have $5 in the bank and I wrote a check for $8. Where am I? I owe $3. So you want to be able to think this story. That's addition and subtraction of integers if you only have a single symbol. Okay, we'll go on just a little bit further. I'm going to erase this. And I'm going to show you my rules for integers. There are 2 sets of rules. There are addition and subtraction rules, and there are multiplication and division rules. They share something in common, but they are different. So you have to know, am I multiplying or dividing, or am I adding and subtracting? So we're going to do the multiplication and division first because it's the easiest. There are two steps. The first step is to determine the sign of your answer. So determine the sign of your answer, and you're going to follow this little pattern. If you have two plus signs, if both multiplication and multiplication, so you have 4 times 6, that answer is going to be a positive answer. So that's going to be plus 24. If you don't have a C sign, it means positive. If you have two negative signs, so if I have minus 3 times minus 5, a minus times a minus is equal to a positive. They cancel each other out. So we're going to have positive 15. If you have one positive and one negative, so let's say we had 4 times negative 6. I have one positive and one negative. My answer is going to be negative, so I have minus 24 as my answer. Let's say I had a minus times a positive. I'm going to have minus 3 times 5. It's a minus times a positive. I'm still going to have a negative answer, and it's going to be negative 15. So while we have similar numbers, depending upon the symbol, it changes your answer. This works for determining sign of the answer only. Then you're just going to multiply or divide like regular. So if we look at division, notice how I've written some of these. You can use a dot for times. Sometimes you'll use a times sign for times. Sometimes you will use a number in front of a parenthesis. Sometimes they'll use 2 parentheses like this. It'll be a parenthesis times a parenthesis. So that's that's different ways you might see multiplication. Division also works the same way. You can have, say, 30 divided by negative 6. That's a division problem. You could say 25, negative 25 divided by 5. That's a division problem. You might see 15, let's say negative 15 divided by negative 3. That's also a division sign. You might see 40 divided by negative 8. That's also a division sign. You might just see 50 divided by 2, or 50 over 2. Either of those could be. So we go, this has got one negative sign. My answer is negative. 30 divided by 6 is 5. Here's the thing. I have one negative. My answer is negative. 25 divided by 5 is 5. Negative and a negative. That means my answer is positive. 15 divided by 3 is 5. I really don't know why I keep having 5s. I guess that's where my brain is. 40 divided by negative 8. I have 1 minus. 40 divided by 8 is 5. So even though these all have different problems, they all equal 5. 50 divided by 2 in both cases is going to be a positive 25, because half of 50 is 25. I find it very useful while you're learning to put a plus or a minus when you have a division or a multiplication problem. You will not see the plus in your answers, but it's helpful for your brain to know you thought about it. So that's addition, that's multiplication and division. Addition and subtraction have 4 rules, 4 steps. Step 1, circle your double symbols. What is a double symbol? Sometimes you will get a problem that looks like this. It'll say minus 4 minus 2, something like that. This is the double symbol. A double symbol, we're going to follow.
You got a call.
Just let it go. it's going to follow this pattern. Okay, circle the double symbol, and you're going to change it to 1, following this pattern. So if I have 2 negative signs, I'm going to change just those symbols to a plus. That's it. I don't change anything else. My third step is I rewrite this problem. This is the most important step because your brain otherwise has to do this, and brains don't like to do that. So you bring along the -4 in front, you bring along the 2 in back. Now your problem is really -4 plus 2. You've translated that double symbol. And now we're going to use that number line or the plus minuses that we learned at the beginning. So we could say I have 4 minus signs and I have 2 plus signs, and I go, oh, these cancel out. My answer is -2. You may not get that by looking at it in this form. So our fourth one then is to just, I always say, think the story. So where did I start? What did I do? So we start with another example. We might have 7 plus -9. So I've got, and usually they'll put negatives in parentheses like this. And I say, oh, I have a double symbol. Double symbols are 2 symbols stuck together without a number between them. A plus minus is a minus. I bring down a 7 and I bring down a 9. 7 take away 9 is -2. So if you think about it, I have 7 plus signs and I have 9 negative signs. I have more negative signs than I do positive signs, which means my answer is negative, but the difference is 2. So if you picture those red and orange little discs, or you picture pluses and minuses, or you think about debt, what do you have more of? If you, however, end up with, let's say, -4 plus -7. I have a plus minus, that's a minus. -4 comes down in front, 7 comes down in back. I owe somebody 4 and I borrow 7 more. Or I have 4 reds and 7 reds. All I have is red. I'm in a bigger minus. I'm at -11. A minus number and a minus number is a bigger minus number. You must remember that. If you have one of each, you're going to find the difference, and then whatever you have the most of determines your sign. So that is the basics of integers. You can watch this as often as you want to. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.